You ever give your best for years only to be told you're not ready yet? That's what happened to me. 3 years of promises, 3 years of lies, 3 years of punishment for something I didn't even do. But the day HR opened the file, everything changed. They thought I'd stay quiet forever. They were wrong. When I first joined the company, I was full of hope. I worked late nights, helped everyone, and hit every target. My manager, Daniel, used to call me the future of this place. I believed him. But one mistake, just one misunderstanding, turned my whole career into a waiting room for a promotion that never came. IT started with a project I wasn't even leading. One report got messed up, and somehow my name ended up on the blame list. Daniel said, "It's just a small issue, don't worry." But next month, when promotions came, my name wasn't there. That was year one of waiting. At first, I thought it was an oversight. Then I realized they were doing it intentionally. Every new person I trained got promoted before me. I became the person who did the hard work, but never got the credit. My emails went unanswered, my ideas got stolen, and my motivation started to fade. Rumors started spreading. Someone in HR whispered that Daniel told upper management I lacked leadership maturity. That's when I knew it wasn't just bad luck. It was revenge. Daniel wanted to keep me under his control. If I got promoted, I'd be equal to him, and he couldn't handle that point. One Friday, I stayed till 11 p.m. finishing a presentation Daniel was supposed to give. The next morning, he presented it word for word and got a standing ovation. No mention of my name. I smiled, clapped, and went home to cry. That night, I decided enough was enough. Instead of fighting back openly, I started documenting everything. Every project, every email, every late-night task. I saved files, screenshots, and notes of every promise they broke. My plan wasn't revenge. It was justice. Quiet, clean justice. A senior manager named Lisa noticed my work ethic. She said, "You remind me of myself 20 years ago. Don't let them silence you." She helped me understand HR policies, performance reviews, and how to request an audit. She became my secret weapon. I filed an internal audit of my promotion track record. HR was surprised. No one had ever challenged Daniel before. They said it would take time. I said, "Take all the time you need. I've been waiting 3 years already." HR started pulling records, attendance, and project data. They noticed something strange. Every major project Daniel got credit for had my name buried in the drafts. Every team win had my fingerprints on it. The deeper they looked, the more it became clear. Someone had been blocking my growth. HR called me and Daniel in for a joint clarification. He looked nervous. For the first time, he didn't smile. HR asked, "Can you explain why this employee's promotion was delayed despite exceeding every metric?" Daniel fumbled, gave half answers, and tried to shift blame. But the truth was too obvious. Then HR pulled out a thick folder. Inside were my yearly performance reports, signed by Daniel himself, all marked as outstanding. His face went pale. HR said, "These are your words, Mr. Daniel. Care to explain why this employee was never promoted?" He had no answer. That's when I spoke up. Calmly, I said, "For 3 years, I believed in this company more than it believed in me. I stayed quiet because I thought hard work would speak for itself. But silence only protects the guilty." The room went silent. Daniel tried one last trick. He said, "It was a misunderstanding." HR replied, A misunderstanding doesn't last 3 years." He broke down, admitted he didn't want to lose a good worker. He thought keeping me in the same position would help the team. But HR wasn't buying it. A week later, I received an email. "Effective immediately. You are promoted to senior project lead." 3 years of waiting ended with one message. But the best part? HR didn't stop there. They launched a review of Daniel's leadership record, and what they found changed everything. Daniel was quietly transferred to another branch. Word spread fast. People started congratulating me, saying I stood up for myself. But it wasn't pride I felt, it was peace. I finally proved that patience isn't weakness. It's silent strength. That I used my promotion not to brag, but to help others who felt stuck like me. I created a mentorship program inside the company to guide junior staff. I told them, if you feel invisible, start keeping records. Truth is your best weapon. Within a year, my team became the top-performing department. We grew together, shared credit, and celebrated every small win. People started saying, "You run this place differently." I smiled and said, "Because I know what it feels like to be unseen." Sometimes I think back to that first night I stayed till 11 p.m., wondering if it was all worth it. The pain, the doubt, the silence, it all built me. If Daniel hadn't tried to bury me, I would have never learned how to grow roots. Here's what I want you to take away. If someone delays your growth, don't let it delay your faith. Your time is coming, quietly, powerfully, unshakably. And when it does, the people who tried to hold you down will have to watch you rise. Because justice doesn't always come loud. It often comes in an HR email with your name on it. You ever give everything to a company, only to be told you're not ready yet? 3 years of hard work, late nights, and missed weekends, all wasted because someone decided to punish me. But when HR opened the file they'd been hiding, the truth destroyed everything they'd built. They thought I'd stay silent. They were wrong. When I started this job, I was excited. Fresh out of college, full of passion, ready to prove myself. My manager, Daniel, told me, "You've got potential. Stay close to me, and I'll make sure you rise fast." I believed him. I worked extra hours, fixed other people's mistakes, and even skipped family events to meet deadlines. I thought loyalty would pay off. I was wrong. IT began small. A project I managed went well, but Daniel took all the credit. He said, "You'll get your turn soon." I smiled and believed him again. When promotion season came, my name was missing. He told me, "Next year, you'll definitely get it." Next year came and went, and then another. 3 long years of being told I was almost there. At first, I blamed myself. Maybe I wasn't good enough. Maybe I needed to learn more. But when I saw people I trained getting promoted before me, something inside me broke. I started digging. And that's when I discovered a rumor. Daniel had told HR I was emotionally unstable and not leadership material. That's why I was being held back. My loyalty had become my prison point. One night, I stayed at the office till midnight preparing a report Daniel needed. The next morning, he presented it to the board, word for word, and took the credit. Everyone applauded. I stood in the back, smiling, while my heart was breaking. That was the night I decided, if the system is against me, I'll make the system work for me. I stopped complaining and started collecting. Every email, every project file, every message where Daniel praised my work, I kept it all. I spoke less, worked smarter, and waited. A senior manager named Lisa noticed my dedication. She pulled me aside and said, "You've been overlooked too long. Let's fix that." She showed me how to file an internal HR audit, something most employees don't even know exists. When HR received my request, they were shocked. "You've been here 5 years without a single promotion?" they asked. I said, "Check the records. You'll see why." They started digging through files. My name appeared in every major project Daniel had been praised for. In every report, my contribution was quietly buried. HR kept going deeper, and then they found it. Daniel had been intentionally marking my promotions as deferred with no valid reason. HR called both of us in for a meeting. Daniel looked pale. The HR officer opened a folder and said, "These are your signed evaluations. All rated outstanding." Why was this employee never promoted? Daniel stuttered, tried to lie, but couldn't. The truth was in black and white. I spoke calmly. "I've waited 3 years for this conversation. I believed loyalty mattered. But it seems honesty didn't." The silence in that room was louder than any applause I'd ever heard. A week later, I got an email. "Effective immediately. You are promoted to senior project lead." Just one sentence. 3 years of pain ended with one click. But that wasn't the best part. HR launched a leadership review of Daniel's department. A month later, he was transferred. The man who held me back was finally held accountable. That I didn't celebrate by gloating. I celebrated by changing how I lead. I created a mentorship program for new employees so no one would ever feel invisible again. And here's what I've learned. If someone delays your success, don't lose your faith.
Keep receipts. Keep calm.
Because when truth speaks, even the loudest lies fall silent. Your time will come. And when it does, it'll come like that HR email, quiet, powerful, undeniable. When HR finally announced my promotion, the entire office went silent. Some clapped. Some avoided eye contact. And Daniel, he just stared at me. The same man who'd kept me down for 3 years was now forced to congratulate me. I smiled politely, shook his hand, and said, "Thank you for believing in me," even when I didn't see it. The sarcasm flew right over his head. But inside, I wasn't angry anymore. I was done fighting. I just wanted peace. They transferred Daniel to another branch, but people said it was temporary. I didn't care. What mattered was how everyone's attitude suddenly changed. The same coworkers who used to ignore me now wanted to collaborate. The same ones who took credit for my work now praised me publicly. It was fake kindness, but I let them talk. My silence had already done what words couldn't. When I walked into my new office, it didn't feel like victory. It felt heavy, like responsibility. The desk was bigger, the title was fancier, but the work was the same. Only now, people looked at me differently. I remembered the sleepless nights, the betrayal, and I promised myself, no one under my watch would ever go through that kind of silent punishment again. 2 months later, Daniel messaged me. "Congrats again," he wrote. "Heard your team's doing well." I wanted to ignore it, but something in me replied, "Thanks. How's the new branch?" He said, "Not the same without you." That line hit hard. Was it guilt, regret, or manipulation? I didn't know. But I knew one thing. I wasn't falling into the same game twice. Success can be lonely. People think once you win, the pain disappears. It doesn't. Every day I question myself. Was I being too cautious, too guarded, too cold? I had worked so long just to be seen that I forgot how to trust. Even praise made me suspicious. I was no longer fighting Daniel. I was fighting the shadow he left inside me. Lisa, the senior manager who helped me, came by my office one morning. She smiled and said, "You've changed." I told her, "I don't want to become what I fought against." She nodded. "Then don't. Lead with what you wished you had, fairness." That line stayed with me. So I started focusing less on revenge and more on rebuilding. That I built a team of people who were just like I used to be, ambitious but overlooked. I saw their frustration, their hunger, their spark. I gave them chances no one gave me. I didn't care about politics. I cared about progress. And slowly, my department became the most reliable in the company. The same HR who once ignored my emails now called to ask for advice. My leadership style started attracting attention. I encouraged open feedback, honest mistakes, and credit where it was due. The CEO noticed. He said, "You've built something rare, trust." I smiled but didn't brag. Because behind that trust was pain. Years of learning how to survive in silence. A year later, Daniel came back. Not to my branch, but to headquarters. Word spread fast. He wanted his old position back. I felt a mix of emotions, anger, fear, and curiosity. Would he try to undermine me again? Or was this karma's final test? HR called a leadership summit. I walked in and there he was, Daniel, sitting across the table. The same smirk, the same confidence. But this time, I wasn't the scared employee. I was his equal. When he spoke, I listened calmly. When I spoke, he stayed silent. The balance had shifted. After the meeting, Daniel pulled me aside. "I owe you an apology," he said softly. "I was insecure. You were better than me, and I couldn't handle it." For a second, I saw the truth, not the monster I'd imagined, but a man consumed by fear. I said, "I forgive you, but I'll never forget." Later that week, HR offered me a choice: take Daniel's old executive role or stay with my team. It was tempting. More power, more money, more recognition. But I remembered how power had poisoned Daniel. So I told them, I'll stay with my team. I'm not done leading from the ground. That decision changed everything. My department became a model of leadership training. New hires said, "We want to work under you." It wasn't fame I wanted, it was impact. Every success story from my team felt like a small revenge on the system that once broke me. At the end of that year, I was invited to the annual awards gala. They called my name for Leader of the Year. As I walked to the stage, I saw Daniel clapping. This time, genuinely. I realized I didn't need to destroy anyone to win. I just needed to outlast them. Standing on that stage, I thought about my younger self, the one crying in the dark office at 11 p.m., wondering if it was all worth it.
That version of me didn't die.
He evolved. Every sleepless night, every rejection, every insult, it all built me into someone unstoppable. People say power changes you, but it only reveals who you've always been. I didn't want to be feared. I wanted to be remembered as the one who turned pain into purpose. So I mentored others, shared my story, and reminded them, success without integrity is just another trap. 2 years later, one of my trainees got promoted, the same position I once fought for. When she thanked me, I said, "Don't thank me. Just promise me you'll lift someone else when you reach higher." She nodded. That's when I knew the chain was broken. Eventually, I got an offer from another company, double salary, higher title. When I announced I was leaving, even Daniel came to my farewell. He said, "You proved me wrong. You earned everything I tried to block." I smiled and replied, "You are my best teacher. You just didn't know it." My new company treated me with respect from day one. I walked into my new office and felt something I hadn't felt in years: peace. I realized success isn't about revenge or recognition. It's about freedom. The freedom to work where you're valued, not tolerated.